Right. Hi, my name is KP Singh, and I'll be with you for the next half an hour. I think there was a glitch with starting the session on time. So here we go. I will be with you till all your questions are answered. And what is our session about? Our session is going to focus on the possibility of studying abroad in times of COVID-19, which is an unprecedented event in our times. Well, you and I have been in lockdown for the last 5 weeks, and what have we done? Well, small institutions like mine, what we have done is we've gone online and we started teaching courses online. Not only institutions like mine, but even schools have gone online, colleges have gone online, universities have gone online. In fact, yesterday, the UGC brought out a notification saying that those colleges and universities that are unable to teach online, they will provide facilities for teaching students and completing their courses and having exams somewhere around July instead of May, June. So, those of you who have not yet received the news, um, news number one is that your exams have been postponed from May, June to July of 2020. Um, does this mean that there is going to be a hindrance in your ability to go abroad? Answer is no. This is never going to be an issue. And I'll tell you why. What used to happen in previous years, unlike 2020, is students would give their exams somewhere in May or June, and then they would fly off from India around July or August. And before the first semester got over, and the first semester would get over somewhere around December of 2020 or thereabouts, you had to produce your final year mark sheet. And therefore, you didn't need to have your final year mark sheet in your hand before you flew off to your country of choice. You could provide that when you were in the university. So they assumed and they presumed that you graduated, and you had to prove that you did by providing mark sheets before the first semester got over. So the exams being postponed to July is not bad news at all. All right. So where is the problem? The problem is going to be that embassies and consulates are shut. And when do we expect them to open? I do not have a crystal ball. We do not know. We cannot gaze into the future when this will happen. But indicators are that, and this is a feeling I'm getting from universities as well, that the fall 2020 session is not going to go live for students from international countries. So we are Indians. I do not expect to see you flying off to your country of choice anytime in the next 3 to 4 months. That's probably not going to happen. So what could happen? One of four things. Number one, the best case scenario is universities decide to defer the program. What do I mean by defer the program? Please understand that programs, say in America, would start somewhere in September. So instead of you going off to United States somewhere in July or August, they could defer that program by a month. So starting off somewhere in October, which means instead of it being a regular one semester program, it would become a very condensed program. Well, I would assume that could be the best probable scenario. But do I expect to see that happening? Answer is no. And why don't I expect to see that happening? Reason number one, that colleges have been instructed that look, COVID-19 is pretty serious. So we need to have something called as social distancing. So a lot of universities have come to the conclusion that number one, to ensure that there is social distancing, they will ensure that international students do not come into classroom sessions. Rather, domestic students come into classroom sessions. So that's what's going to happen in most countries, that their classrooms will have a big flavor of domestic students. So the international kids will be told, don't come. What we're going to do for you, rather, is scenario number two, we will teach you courses online. So the best case scenario was a deferred program, but I don't expect that to happen. If it happens, I will jump in joy. What I expect is number two scenario to work out, and that's going to be that you'll be told, don't come here, we will teach you online courses. And the first thing an Indian kid will say is, "Oh, really? Online? Is that going to be as powerful? Is that going to be as effective as being taught live by a student, by a teacher?" The answer is probably not. But this is what I know of programs abroad, that a lot of courses already are taught online. So universities are equipped with the skills, with the material, with the knowledge, the capacity, and faculty who are highly trained to run classes online. So my best advice to you would be, and this is, I'm talking of 30 years of experience, would be for you to take that option. If they offer you online, take that option. Do a couple of courses that are very basic, that don't need you to have a student teacher interaction, or b they don't need you to do some practicals or lab work. Do very basic courses, and then when you finish these courses, you fly off in spring, that is December of 2020, for a program starting in January. What have you gained over here? Well, in scenario 2, what you've gained is you've done 2 courses. Number 1. Number 2, you have not paid living fees, right? You're staying in your mom and dad's house, so you don't have to go out and rent a home and pay costs on that. Your food is free, obviously. So you save a lot of money on the living cost. That is number 2. And number 3, I strongly expect that instead of the regular fee, you would be paying a reduced fee because it's going to be online classes. So a lot of benefits to you over here. But the biggest benefit I see is going to be this, that when you land up in spring of 2021, that is January, you have got credits already earned. And what I believe, there is a big move happening, say, in countries like America, is to put some kind of force on the government to say that whatever courses students do while they're in an international land, say in India, those courses be counted, number 1, to the degree that they're doing, number 1, and number 2, that those courses also be counted to allow you to do summer internships. Let's take a step back. What's the rule currently in America? In America, the rule is you've got to be in the country for 2 semesters consecutively to qualify for a summer internship. But universities are putting pressure on the government to say that students be allowed to do fall semester in their own countries, come do the spring semester, that is Jan to May, and then May to August, that's summer, you should be allowed to do an internship, which is what I think is the best outcome possible over here. So that's scenario number 2. What's scenario number 3? That universities tell you, you have a choice. If you don't want to start the program in fall, why don't you start the program in spring itself? That is January of 2021. So a lot of students are actively looking at that possibility too. And the last scenario possible, number 4, is students are saying, why should I go in spring? Because they realize if they go in spring, they might lose out on summer internships. So instead of postponing and deferring the admission to spring of 2021, they want to defer it to fall of 2021. What is my advice and what's my take on this? My answer is, don't do that. Why not? Number 1, if I go in spring of 2021, then what I can do for summer, if I don't get the internship possibility, is I can continue my studies. Universities are flexible. They will allow you to do courses in summer, which means your second semester, instead of sitting at home in America, you go to college, finish courses in summer, and therefore next year, August, you're entering into semester 3. You gain back that semester you lost. I think that's a wonderful outcome. Reason 1, why you should choose to go in spring. Reason 2 is, please understand, if students don't go this year and they don't go in spring of 2021, what are they probably going to do? Well, they're probably going to go for fall of 2021, which means tremendous number of students will go for fall 2021, which means next year fall is going to see such an amazing rush of people and students that universities won't have seats for you. And when you graduate in 2023, it's a 2-year program, then job scenario also would probably be hit. So my advice would be this, that there are four possible scenarios. I hope and pray the first one comes true. But the best possible scenario is number two, where you take courses online and then you go for semester two in spring. If you choose not to go and walk down that path, then of course scenario three looms large, which is start in spring of 2021. I am not in favor of going for fall 2021 for the reasons presented above. This is the scenario in terms of United States and of course Canada. Uh, Australia and New Zealand, the programs were supposed to start in July, and therefore I don't see students going for July of 2020. I think that season has been wiped off. Universities expect that to be 100% wipe off for international students. That leaves you with countries in Europe, and again, Europe scenario is pretty unclear at the moment. I feel again the same story is going to work through, that you'll be told come in spring, that is Jan Feb of 2021. Let's take a quick look at how countries have treated their students. So this is going to be a big takeaway for you from this session. Which country treated international students the best? Well, let's start with which treated it the worst. So the worst country in terms of love being given or care being taken of international students, I'm so sorry to state Australia ranked right up there. Their government, led by Scott Morrison, actually made statements like, if international students cannot afford to stay here, why don't they go back to their country of origin, knowing full well that international travel had gone into lockdown. So there was no way international students leave Australia and go back to the countries of origin. So students were left to fend for themselves. It's universities in Australia that put their hands up and they help students. So government of Australia was not too friendly to international students in this moment of crisis, but universities did do tremendous work. I know universities like Adelaide and ANU and RMIT, they did tremendous work for their students. They allowed them to stay on campus, etc., and also give them some dole or money. But the countries that really stood out were unbelievably New Zealand. They brought students who had come from foreign lands. They allowed them to stay in dormitories, provided them food, and if they had a job, they told them you could continue working, and if you cannot continue working, they actually provided them with a salary despite the fact that they were not working, which I think was the best treatment meted out to international students. So obviously, a consultant like me, keeping this in mind, will focus more on countries like New Zealand for 2021, because I know that when my student, that is you, goes abroad to a country like New Zealand, I can rest assured that they will take care of you. Another country that stood out, and no sense of imagination required here, was Canada, which again, like New Zealand, took tremendous care of its students and allowed them to stay for free, provided them with housing and gave money, and in some universities even food was provided for free. But in most universities, whether it be United States or it be Australia, universities put their hands up. For example, I know Texas Tech University in America, it actually told students that we will lower the fees, what you were paying, we will lower the fees, we will refund the money that you paid to us to enable you to sustain yourself for the next 2-3 months. And just like New Zealand, this particular university, and then I'm sure there are more universities like that, they also allowed the students to continue getting a salary despite not coming to work. So this is very heartening to note. But what was also important to see was programs that are being delivered live online even today. So students who were in America and in Australia, wherever they were in the world, their programs continued live, online classes continued, and possibility is strong, as I suggested earlier, that those online classes process will continue. Right? So this was a small talk on what's going to happen in the next few months. So a quick recap. before I take up your questions. Number one is one of four scenarios is going to happen for all the countries. Australia and New Zealand, you're not going to go for fall 2020. There is no fall 2020. But Europe and America and Canada, that possibility stands. If you cannot go for fall 2020, then my suggestion is you take up courses online and then join the classes in spring of 2021, having already completed two or more courses. Scenario three is you actually start in spring. Scenario four, I don't recommend. You go for fall 2021. Perfect. So this is a small feedback of what's happening in the world. So now let's take up questions. For that, I need to wear glasses. Unlike most of you, I am little need of glasses to read. So there are questions that are coming up, and I will take them one by one. So so the first question that has come up is about what's going to happen in terms of students who were given money by the United States government. Please understand that the government of America decided that they would give 1,200 US dollars to students who actually to everybody, and a lot of students also got that money, $1,200. But that $1,200 was money meant for American citizens. So students from India or wherever they were from the world, if you got $1,200 given to you, then that money is not your money. You have to return it back to the US government. If you don't do that, what's going to happen? Well, number one, that if I don't pay back that money, then when I file for my H1 or for further visa processes, then that will be a red flag. That'll probably be the cause of your reject. So if you've got $1,200 given to you by the US government into your bank accounts, please return that money. That is not your money. Okay, so that's one query. Right, so how is the situation in Italy? Well, Italy is having again a bad time in terms of COVID-19, but the students I spoke to, they are extremely happy. They say people around us are very friendly. They've been taken care of. So people who've gone universities in Milan and of course across the country, they are doing pretty fine. And this is one of those few countries which, unlike most countries, it allows you to work on advanced systems. So I find Italy to be pretty amazing as a destination for study abroad. And of course, it's gone to a horrible period of lockdown. It's currently even now in a lockdown. But once lockdown is lifted, I'm sure things will go back to normal as they were across the world. But Italy also is doing pretty fine. Continuing on to any government advisories on foreign education, the answer is no. The government of India has not provided any advisory. All that the government of India has done is talk. Yesterday, for example, UGC brought out that regulation saying that exams are postponed to July, and they brought out a huge timetable, which I can share with you if you put in your email ID. I can share that notification with you. So they have not given any advisories about studies abroad from the government of India. There's been no such advisory that's come out. But my gut feel is that I do not see students going abroad in this year for fall 2020. That number is going to be restricted. In fact, universities themselves expect there to be an 80% hit in international numbers. And I think that 80% hit, they are being highly optimistic. I think it's going to be 100% hit. So fall 2020 has been washed out. The only monies that probably universities will get will be via the online programs. I do not see students traveling to their countries to do courses in classroom. So A, there is no advisory from the government of India, and B, universities across or countries around the world, they also have not provided any advisories. In fact, they're all huddled up to decide what to do. So this talk has, I hope, given you an idea what's probably going to happen in the next few months. Right. So, should students postpone their plan for study abroad this year? Any alternative to this? Answer is yes, there is an alternate. So, as I said earlier, you must postpone it to spring of 2021. And while you're sitting at home for 6 months, what do? Well, you do extra courses. You go online and do courses that'll help you gain recognition, build up your profile. So, my strong advice is that you should do courses like Python, do courses like C, C++, and R. Even if you're not an engineer, you must do these courses because they'll help you tremendously when you join. Maybe it's an architecture program or a pharmacy program. Do courses in Excel. So get certifications. You can do this in Coursera. In fact, IMFS will be offering this lot of courses to you via Cisco. So do these courses. They're going to help build up your profile. And whenever you do a course, ensure you get a certificate for that. So I know you'll have to end up paying some 2,000 to 3,000 rupees for it. So pay that money, get a certification. It may not be a pen paper certification. It could be a virtual sticker or a badge, which you can put onto your LinkedIn profile. And remember, people, when they employ or hire students like you, the first thing they check is your LinkedIn profile, your social media, your professional social media is extremely important. Therefore, if I were you, I would do these courses sitting in India uh, before I leave for the country of my choice and build up my profile and keep getting these stickers and put them onto your LinkedIn profile. That makes you extremely hireable, improves your ability to be hired. And strong bit of advice, build up in an ability to communicate. What I notice in the last 5 to 10 years is students are excellent in their domain knowledge. So your knowledge, your skills are brilliant, but where you lack, and I'm not pointing fingers here, but where students lack from India is their lack of ability to communicate effectively. And if you cannot communicate effectively, you may have amazing knowledge, but you will always suffer for your ability to communicate. So learn how to talk, join some classes that'll help you to do that, or simply do some self-improvement courses online as well. So that's what you can do before you actually end up in countries of your choice. So we have a question from Niyati Khanna. So Niyati says, can you share an insight into graduating in 2021 versus 2022? Well, Niyati, if you're flying off from India in spring of 2021, you're going to graduate in 2023. So I don't see you graduating in 21 or 20. It's going to be 23. So the first question that comes to people's mind is this the right time to do all of this? To go abroad, to spend money and maybe not get a job? You think economic scenario is pretty depressing? The answer to all your questions is simple. Let's look at history. The worst depression that mankind has seen was in 1929, and that got over in 1931 thereabouts. It lasted for 2.5 or 3 years. The greatest recession mankind has seen started in 2008, was finished by 2011 or thereabouts, again around 2.5 to 3 years. So that's not too far in memory. It happened just 10, 15 years ago. So what I'm trying to tell you is recessions and depressions, they last for 2 to 3 years. The recession we are seeing today is artificial. It has been caused not because the economies were doing badly. For example, America was doing pretty fine till January, February of 2020. It went down suddenly because of COVID. So what's going to happen? Well, I'm not an economist, right? I'm a simple faculty of verbal reasoning. But what I've seen in my last 55 years of existence on Earth is that economies that shut down very rapidly can also rise very rapidly. So-called the V effect. So you go down rapidly, you also come back up rapidly. So my hope and prayer is that is what happens. But if that does not happen, then probability is what economy that has gone down will stay down for a year or two and then go back up, which means if you're a smart kid, listen to me carefully, Please do not postpone going to America or Australia or other countries. Let that plan stand for 2021. Okay, do courses now and then enroll for 2021, graduate in 23. That means we are in 2020. 3 years from today, even if economies were to take a long time to recover, 3 years from today, when you graduate, you'll be in a country where companies will be eager, they'll be hungry to hire you. So that would be the ideal scenario. And I see that possibility very strongly happening. So don't postpone your plan. Do online courses and go for fall or spring of 2021 and graduate in 23, not 22. Right, so let me make up more questions. And so, Niyati, thank you for agreeing with me. Um, So Devraj has a question. If a university shuts down due to the ongoing pandemic, will it affect the student loan? That is going to be a scenario that's highly possible. But most NBFCs and banks that I've spoken to are saying that they are going to ensure that if students need more money because universities have shut down, if the students need more money, these banks and NBFCs are willing to loan more money, lend more money. So if any of you are stuck because university shut down and now that your expenses are going up, approach your NBFC, that's a non-banking finance corporation, or approach your bank for an extended loan. That possibility is very strong that happen. So Kumarasaran wants to know, does 2021 get affected due to the coronavirus? I don't know, Kumarasaran, because here is the deal. There are 120 companies that are working on a vaccine for COVID-19 as we speak today. And I'm very proud that a student I sent to America around 15 years ago, she's working for one of those companies working on a vaccine for COVID-19. And I'm hearing reports that companies in India also are working for a vaccine. So in the scenario that a vaccine is found and it works effectively, then I think things will go back to normal the way they were. What's the worst case scenario? The worst case scenario, if you take a step back, vaccines take between 6 to 12 months to be administered to the common people. But because there are so many companies working together at the same time, people are expecting that period to be shortened a little, maybe 7 to 8 to maybe 9 months. So there is one school of thought that says that there should be a vaccine available in the market by July or September, somewhere there. That's the optimist side. The pessimist says no, that it'll take that regular period, that is 12, maybe 18 months. Well, if it is 12 to 18 months, that means fall 2021 is not going to get affected. So that's my answer to you, Kumar Siran, that it depends really on when the vaccine is found. Moving on to Subhodh. Do you need I-20 for online classes? Well, most universities will be providing with an I-20, which is going to be digital. So they will give you a digital I-20. You can start your courses online. And when you actually go for your visa, which I expect will be around October, November of this year, you'll have your online visa I-20, obviously. But again, you'll have a hard copy given to you as well. So that you can use for your visa. Let's go back. What's an I-20? An I-20 is a document you provide to the consulate in Bombay, in Mumbai, or embassy in Delhi to get your visas. So an I-20, at the moment, university is talking of it being digital, but of course, once lockdowns are lifted, they'll start giving you via courier as well, the hard copies as well. So Subra says, should she pay the savers fee? The answer is, if you made up your mind that you're going to go to a certain university, go on and pay the savers fee. But what I would strongly advise you to do is to firm up your decision. Tell the university of your choice, I am coming, reserve a seat for me. Number one. Number two, once you've done that, log online and fill up your DS-160 form, pay your savers fee, fair enough. But when you fill up your DS-160 form, ensure you save it into your computers, into your hard drives. Because remember, DS-160 forms, they stay live on the US Embassy site for just a month. So we wouldn't want you to fill up all the data and then after a month it gets wiped off. You should be able to retrieve the data from your hard drives and then reactivate that DS160 again. So if you finalize which university to go to, fill up your DS160, pay the savers fee, and then wait. So Sagar says thoughts on brands like Upgrad providing international MBA degrees sitting back at home. Makes a lot of sense. But what does the student from India want? Now, correct me if I'm wrong here. Do you, as a student, honestly believe that you like to study just online and then continue working in India and, of course, pay a lot of money for that degree? It's not going to be cheap. You're going to pay a lot of money for that degree, even though it's online. Is that what you want? To the best of my understanding, that's not what students from India want. What do you want? I mean, you want to go to the country, you want to experience that country, you want to get taught by teachers live, you want that experience, and more importantly, once the program is done, you want to be able to work in that country. So an online course from Upgrad or from some other such platform, while they're excellent by themselves, will not allow you a few things. One is to get a visa to go and work in the country. Two, your exposure will be through the online medium. And excellent though it may be, you do not get that flavor of sitting with people from various countries and learning from them. In fact, Sagar, if I may put this across to you, a lot of learning in an MBA program happens not from student-teacher interaction, it happens from student-student interaction. You learn from other people, their experiences. So if you're looking for an MBA, I think the ideal thing to do would be to do is hold on, get some more experience under your belt, and then go for, while I told everybody else, don't go for fall 2021, an MBA you might want to consider fall 2021 for two reasons. Number one, there are hardly any programs starting in spring for an MBA. It's going to be mostly driven by fall. And number two, if I continue living in India for another year, I get one more year of work experience. That makes me an exciting prospect for even higher ranked universities. So my strong advice to you, Sagar, would be don't walk that path right now. Hold on your horses, get some experience under your belt, and then look at fall 2021 for an not online but a live classroom. Forgive me, I come from the old school of teaching. I like to see students, I like to look at their reactions, and from your body language, get the idea whether you understood what I'm teaching or not, and then rectify or alter a class accordingly. Which why the online module is not so effective or not as well developed. All right, so a lot of questions moving in. So Hetvi says that she has a question dealing with study abroad. Will there be comprising or producing the offer letter? I'm trying to apply to universities in Ireland for the last 3 years, but I'm failing to get an offer, and she want to get admits to Ireland. So Hetvi, without sounding presumptuous, may I ask you to come and meet our counselors in IMFS. Hopefully we'll be able to get the results that you want. We work with all the universities in Ireland, and therefore hopefully we should be able to get your admit done. So please come and meet us. Very simple. Log on my name is KP Singh, and you'll get my contact numbers of all our offices. Come and meet us. So we should be able to help you, Hetvi. Moving on to the next question. So all of you, thank you. Is absolutely my pleasure. So Tejinder wants to know that the universities are relatively free due to COVID. Does this give a chance for teachers to get selected in international universities? Oh, so senior teacher wants to know this question. Yes, it will allow. Universities are not free. I think it's a misconception that because of COVID, people are all sitting at home. I am more busy than I have ever been in my life. So if that's true for me, and I'm just a small institute in India, then universities abroad are I'm sure even more busy, because they are ramping up plans, what to do, how to do, and how to deliver courses online, and how to attract students, and how to make the best of this terrible scenario. So, A, universities are not free. But B, even if they were free, they could probably be free for the next maybe 3 months. Because universities, say in America, have already made up their minds that courses will start in August, September as scheduled for domestic students. So teachers will have just 3 to 4 months of free time if they have any free time. But I assume that the at least half of May is going to get wiped off because of COVID, which means if you're a faculty and you want to go abroad to do some short-term course, uh, international travel is going to be restricted. I don't see you getting visas, and flying abroad is going to be a problem. So if you want to do courses, they probably will have to be online. So Tejinder doing courses for teachers in a country outside of India is a very remote possibility. I'm so sorry to disappoint you in that answer. Right. So Shweta wants to know, do US universities accept 15 years of education? Answer is, a lot of universities are accepting that. So what do? Is they make you do a WES evaluation, for which you got to pay $250. So what WES does is it checks your mark sheets, your transcripts, and evaluates whether your degree, your undergrad degree, which is a 15-year degree, is it equivalent to a US degree, which is 16 years. And if WES says it is equal, your number of credits are what an American university also provides, universities are fine with that. In fact, between you and me, a lot of universities have now come out with some new regulations saying that we are fine with the 15-year degree, provided you got 60% or higher in your final year. And provided you've done this from an A grade listed university, like say Mumbai University or Pune University. So I hope that answers your question, Shweta. Universities, even in America, are fine with it. Please remember that UK and Ireland are obviously fine with it because their programs are also 15 years undergrad programs. But even countries like US are now opening to this thought. So you should be fine over there, Shweta. So Shubhra says, how has the pandemic affected PhD intake in US and Canada? Will there be any in spring? Well, Shubhra, first of all, like I said, for an MBA, most admits happen for fall, not for spring. So for a PhD as well, the answer is going to be the same. That I expect that because of COVID-19, what program you should have begun in fall, you'll now begin next year, either in spring or in fall of 2021. So firstly, for a PhD student looking at going abroad for a PhD program, rather than spring, look at fall 2021. There'll be more funding available to you. But because of this extraordinary circumstance, universities may now defer your admission for a PhD also from spring to fall. So that's the positive that is coming out. What do I mean by that? That I would not have expected you to get a spring PhD position opening. I didn't expect that. I wouldn't expect that. But because of COVID-19, that possibility is very strong. The university that had admitted you for fall will actually allow you to do a PhD starting from spring 2020. Either that or you go for a fall 2021 program. So Ruben says, would it be advisable to do a master's in industrial engineering in fall 21, since a lot of people will be applying for this intake and job scenario would be slightly better? So Ruben, here is my take and my 2 pence on this. That I am absolutely with you that there'll be a lot of students applying for fall 2021. So intakes will go high. Universities will be hungry to recover and recoup the money that they probably will have lost. It's an assumed loss of money for fall 2020. So what money they lost because of international students not going, they'll want to recover in fall 2021. So the intakes will be bigger, which obviously means when you graduate in 2023, the number of people graduating also will be much bigger than usual. But then remember, when economies come out of recessions, they are hungry. And when economies are hungry, they hire left, right, and center. I'm looking at your eyes when I'm saying this, Ruben. Please understand that in industrial engineering, if you do courses like supply chain or operation research or project management, and if you add some elements of analytics to it, you should be just fine. But if you're a smart kid and you were hearing me clearly, Ruben, do some online courses now sitting at home, which will empower you to be internet or IT friendly. Because what I see in the years to come will be a lot of jobs transitioning from working in brick and mortar places to doing at home, work from home on online platforms, even for people like industrial engineers, unless you're working on site. So if you're a smart kid, do some courses like Internet of Things, which again IMFS will offer you. Do these courses and be ready to go for fall 2021. Don't worry about the competition. Your agenda in life, and I think that's advice for everybody, is competition is never going to go down, it's only going to go up as years go by. Therefore, you got to learn two things in life. Be the best at what you do. There will be recognition for you if you're the best at what you do, and aim to go to the best possible university. Those two things will get you success as nothing else can. Don't look at mathematics of how many people there are or what the percentage of competition is. It doesn't matter whether there are 100 people or there are 10,000 people. Your objective is to be in the top 10%. If you're there, it doesn't matter how many competitors you had. You will have your job. I hope you take that with the desire and the intent it was delivered. All right. So, what's the impact for Canadian PR? Sorry, I do not deal with the PR. So, that's a question I'm going to sidestep. Right. So, I believe we have covered most questions. And I'm going to be again, it's almost 4 o'clock. So, we began around 10 minutes late because of my lack of ability to start the Facebook live session on the EduTech platform. So thank you to EduTech Nesco for organizing this session. So I believe what you started is a wonderful platform for us to meet and exchange thoughts and ideas. I hope you took away a lot of things from this session today. Should you feel you want to speak to me or address me in a more personal manner, then you can feel free to send me an email at kpsingh@imfs.co.in. I'll repeat, kpsingh@imfs.co.in. I think there is one more question coming up. No, I don't think there is any. Right. This was fun for me. I hope it was fun for you as well. I hope to see you again in the future. In case I don't, let me wish you all the best from the depth of my heart. Do well. God bless you. Aim for success. Aim for the stars, so that you're able to reach your goals in life. Once again, my email ID, kpsingh@imfs.co.in. Thank you and have a wonderful evening. Be safe, be healthy, be smart, stay at home. Don't risk your life and don't risk lives of others. And pray for a wonderful recovery for our country and for the world in general. Thank you and bye-bye.